Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 100. Our 100th episode, and in fact, we are going to today, we're live on YouTube. Thank you for watching if you're watching us live on Monday morning. If not, if you can't participate in this if you're watching after the fact. But for those who are watching live, put your favorite, we usually ask for questions and comments in the chat. We can ask some of your favorite moments from the first 100 episodes. Add those to the chat. Also, big happenings around here. Yeah, I'm glad Damonza just put his hand down, because before I even get to what's going on the show, listen, some people would be a little disturbed by this. I couldn't be prouder. Damonza hit a beautiful 5-leg parlay on Thanksgiving, and immediately with his winnings, bought a very fresh diamond chain. It was very well done. Very proud of him. You can see that on the YouTube stream. You can also listen to us, obviously, on iTunes, Spotify. Check us out there. But before we get to Week 12 in the NFL, here is what is not making today's show. What did not make the cut for today's show is Odell getting escorted off a plane. Very conflicting reports here. And I am not one to just believe what the police tell me. However, Odell's lawyer's excuse does not seem that believable either. So I'm intrigued by what may or may not have actually happened. I know it's not the greatest look for a guy who's trying to, interview for jobs right now. Josh Jacobs with an 86-yard walk-off touchdown in overtime to beat the Seattle Seahawks in the fight in Geno Smith's. And the Chiefs not really making today's show as they dominate Bryce Perkins. You said you were going to bring up on the podcast something I said about Bryce Perkins. I thought about it for a few hours. You are not going to bring that up on the podcast. Let's get to today's show. Here is Damonza. What are we starting with?
I would start with the Eagles. They now moved to 10-1 on Sunday Night Football, and Jalen Hurts is looking like an MVP. But the big story was Aaron Rodgers and his injuries.
Can we just pause just for 1 second?
You can pause
before we get to Aaron Rodgers. You guys just start the clock if you want, but it's fine. I told you guys last week what was going to happen with the MVP conversation, and I thought, you guys last week, the whole football media came to a consensus where I've been all year, that it's Patrick Mahomes and then it's everybody else. And last week, the general consensus was Mahomes the MVP. Let's stop being dumb. We know he's the MVP. And what did I tell you guys? I told you guys that would last a few weeks maximum, and then they will find someone new to put, maybe it's this guy. It took 6 days. And now it's, maybe it's Jalen Hurts is the MVP. And by the way, unfortunately for Jalen, they probably got to him too early. In a few weeks, it will be, guys, Tua. Tua's the MVP. Mahomes, it's going to be Mahomes versus Allen, then Mahomes versus Hurts, then Mahomes versus Tua. And
Tua's the best candidate.
It wouldn't shock me if they steal this MVP from him like they did in 2020, as I told you might happen. But go ahead. That's not the story here.
The bigger story here is Aaron Rodgers and his injuries.
Yeah.
He came into the game with a fractured thumb, and late in the third went into the locker room with a rib injury.
Yeah.
But to the rescue, Jordan Love came in and looked excellent.
He did look good.
Almost immediately threw a touchdown.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers when Rodgers pulled this exact move once upon a time with Favre. So is this the end of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay?
Okay, so this is a complicated question, because I think the Packers, and Rodgers after the game said he wants to play, he wants to keep playing. They're done. They're 4-8.
Clearly.
They're cooked. They're finished. And James Jones, if you're watching, I do not forget a few weeks ago when you were on First Things First with me and bet me an indeterminate amount of money that the Packers were going to win 10 games. And I said, any stakes you want is fine. You were very loud about them winning 10 games. Well, they have now lost 8 games, so winning 10 games is mathematically impossible. So you can forward me the check whenever you want, Mr. Jones, but that's neither here nor there. Packers are done, okay? Yeah. We know the Packers are done. We also know that they are in a very odd spot with Jordan Love. Because he was a first-round pick, first-round picks get 4-year contracts with a 5th-year option, meaning the team has the option to add a 5th year to the contract, okay? That option must be exercised in the offseason between their 3rd and 4th years. That's this offseason for Jordan Love. So the only silver lining to the season from hell, and now to the fact that Rodgers is legitimately banged up, is you can sit him the rest of the way and get a 5-week sample of Jordan Love. Not necessarily because you're moving on from Aaron Rodgers, but because you need to see Love play so you can determine, A, do we want to pick up his option? B, does he have real trade value? Right. What if... So, the Packers front office this offseason is going to have to, I believe... So let's just go through all the possible scenarios. Let me set this up well, because this is important. Scenario 1, you go back to Rodgers. What is gained from that? I would argue nothing, other than maybe he gets, a little more reps with the young receivers. But you can't make the playoffs either way. All you can do is get hurt more. There is, to me, nothing to be gained from going back to Rodgers. Okay? That's door number 1. Door number 2. You go to Jordan Love, and he's awful. Okay, you now can decline the 5th-year option, understand that was a bad pick, move forward with Aaron Rodgers. You go to Jordan Love, and he's good. That then opens 2 separate possibilities. 3, actually. Possibility number 1, if he's good. You pick up the 5th-year option, you hold on to Jordan Love, you keep Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers is your starter next year, and then the year after, you make a decision. Do we want to trade Rodgers, release Rodgers after next season, move on with Jordan Love? What do we want to do? Okay? Jordan Love is good. Door number 2 of that. You ask around the league and say, what can we get for this guy? Can we get a first-round pick for this guy in a world where Matt Ryan gets traded for stuff? Carson Wentz gets traded for a lot of stuff. 1 more year of him on a very cheap rookie deal, plus a relatively cheap 5th-year option. Is there a team like the New York Jets, if Mike White turns back into a pumpkin, that decides we're good, we need a quarterback, this is what we don't want to go through the total crapshoot of the draft again? And we will use those draft picks to try to make 1 more Super Bowl push with Rodgers. Door number 3 of the Jordan Love is good option is you trade Aaron Rodgers. And you move forward with Jordan Love. The point is this. I don't know if Rodgers is the quarterback next year. I do know it would be inarguably the wrong decision to not take advantage of the one good part of a lost season, which is that you can use the last 5 weeks to evaluate this quarterback. And if that pisses off Aaron Rodgers, to use one of my favorite quotes from a show I actually didn't watch, Mad Men, the Dom Draper quote, that's what the money's for. Aaron, you're upset? Well, luckily, we just gave you $150 million.
Was he on a 1-year contract?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers?
He was before they signed him to this extension.
Yeah, so are you even able to get anything for Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, because you would, because, and speak up a little bit.
Teams have to finish his contract, right?
Well, listen, the Aaron Rodgers contract is complicated, and it's a lot of money people would be trading for, but it's after next season. It's a year-to-year commitment. You're not locked into him for multiple seasons after next year. So because of that, I think there would be a market, maybe not a strong market, but a market for Rodgers. They can't cut him. They could trade him. It would actually help their cap situation a bit.
Right.
So point is this. You must get the knowledge that is available to you by playing Jordan Love. Next.
All right.
By the way, is Rodgers done in Green Bay? 60% say yes. All right, go ahead.
All right, the Browns shocked the Bucs in overtime. Also shocked my bet.
Yeah,
but the Bucs.
You would have lost the bet anyway, thanks to the
Seahawks.
The Seahawks,
the Raiders,
yeah.
maybe. But the Bucs had a chance. The Browns tied the game with less than a minute to go in the fourth. We've all seen Brady pull off countless game-winning drives. This one seemed more than doable. But the Bucs didn't stop the clock and instead played for overtime and lost. Is Todd Bowles just Nat Hackett in disguise, or do the Bucs lack trust in Tom?
Okay. The Bucs clock management at the end of that game was a total abomination. In overtime, it wasn't good. At the end of the fourth quarter, it was a travesty.
Yeah.
So I want to go through, because everyone's focusing just on the final Tampa drive. That was not the problem. The problem was this. Here's the situation. You are up 17-10. Cleveland has one timeout. That's the key piece of information. Cleveland has one timeout, okay?
Right.
The Browns pop a giant Nick Chubb run. They have 1st and 10 from the Tampa 12 with 1:53 left, okay? At that moment, any serious team must understand, even though you have the lead, you now must preserve the clock. So let me explain it. Because Cleveland only has one timeout, and there's 1:53 left, if they don't score, you're taking knees. You win the game if you stop them from scoring. Because one timeout, you can stop it once, but then you can kneel it twice. That takes 85 seconds off the clock. There's only 113 seconds left. Their plays are going to take 10 to 15 seconds. It's game over. You're in kneel down territory. So, the clock now, Cleveland no longer cares about the clock. They actually want to use as much clock as possible. Because if they don't score the tying touchdown, they've lost either way. If they have all their timeouts, or even 2 of their timeouts, it's a different situation. But if you're Tampa, once they get down to the 12 and there's 1:53 left, you must understand, yes, we want to stop them. But if we don't stop them, we want to have 90 seconds you could have to get a game-winning field goal. Instead, Tampa lets them run 33 seconds off the clock before their second down play. That's at 1:20. It's an incomplete pass. Okay, now you're real lucky, right? They went incomplete. Even though you blew the timeout situation, you still have all three. And there's 1:20 left. On third down, they throw the ball. They lose a yard. There is now 1:15 left. Cleveland is in 4th and 10. It's 1:15. If you call timeout, if you stop them, you're taking knees. The game is over. There's 75 seconds left. You can take 3 knees and take off 80 seconds. Game's over. They let the clock run down to 35 seconds. Cleveland calls their next play. Touchdown. Now you have 32 seconds. And congrats, you have all your timeouts. It's disastrous. Then, to make it even worse, this is what you're talking about. 32 seconds left after the touchback. On first down, you throw it for 1 yard and just let the clock run. Just they're playing for overtime there instead of seeing if Brady can get in field goal range. Now that Brady could have called those timeouts. That was crazy, but the real screw up was the defensive possession. Right. And then in overtime, they screwed up the clock too. I don't want to spend more time on it. And as an added kick in the gut, in overtime, Tristan Wirfs, your best offensive lineman on an offensive line that has been ravaged by injuries, gets carted off.
Right.
in what the broadcast described as a gruesome injury. Right. Now, I didn't see it, and hopefully he's okay, but he got carted off, and they called it gruesome. That's not great. So I've said Tampa's like a sleeper NFC contender. I really...
Taking that back.
At this point, Bowles was just deer in the headlights. So bad. Brady coming off the bye didn't look that sharp. The Browns stink.
Yeah.
The Browns stink. They scored an opening drive touchdown and then did nothing for 55 minutes on offense, and you found a way to lose to them. That's a disastrous loss. And I'm not just angry because I had the Bucs -3. That is a disastrous loss. Now, the poll says, will the Bucs win the NFC South? And the poll questions, yes, 75%. I agree with that. And they might even, depending on who the first wild card in the NFC is, win a playoff game still. But that offensive line plus that coaching, I can't believe in them to go on a real run. All right, let's get to the main event. I can't believe we didn't start here. Go ahead.
One of the wildest games of the year. The Prince that was promised pulled out a win versus the Ravens. Trevor Lawrence had 3 straight scoring drives and hit a 2-point conversion to win it all. The Jags finally got a win, but are still only 4-7. Is this the best moment of Trevor's career? And if so, isn't that kind of sad?
Okay, no, it's not sad. It's not kind of sad. And you guys are so rude.
I think it's kind of sad.
It's not sad. Stop it. Okay? Trevor did not get a real rookie year in the NFL because of Urban Meyer. So this is his rookie season. But last year didn't happen. This is his rookie season, and he was out there throwing darts.
Didn't he almost lose the game yesterday?
He had a fumble. He had a fumble. I'm not worried about that. Trevor was fantastic in this football game. You guys on the gambling show, you guys gave me some stupid Thanksgiving Day offer, which actually hit, by the way. I turned it down and said instead I'll take Trevor Lawrence on the money line, winner, winner, chicken dinner. So Trevor Lawrence, the last 3 weeks, win against Vegas, 109 passer rating, 1 touchdown, no pick, 235 yards. The next week, he played the best team in football, the Chiefs. He lost. It happened. Still, though, a 106 passer rating, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. This week against Baltimore, 320 yards passing, a 130 rating, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Maybe an AFC Offensive Player of the Week award, possibly. Yeah. I'm thinking about that.
Player of the Week.
Player of the Week. What's so funny?
Player of the Week, man?
Player of the Week.
Okay.
That's a big deal. In fact, you know what?
The week.
Well, yeah, they give it out weekly, asshole. Sorry. Let me just see who else could even get it. Josh Allen's not getting it. No one on the Bills is getting it. The Patriots
Maybe that
lost.
New quarterback for
Mac
the Jets.
Jones isn't getting. Oh, damn it! Mike White might get it.
Yep.
God dog it. Mike White might. Oh, you know what? No, Josh Jacobs is gonna get it.
Jacobs,
the running back for the Raiders. He had like 200 plus yards. No. Damn it. Josh Jacobs is going to get it. That's all right. Runner-up player of the week. How about that for my guy, Trevor?
That's awesome, and a win.
And Jack's not dead yet. Yeah. I mean, they've got some work to do, but not dead yet. You guys mocked me. I told you he was going to turn it around. They get the Lions this week. What? What are you laughing about?
I mean, you're just making it seem like this is like a flawless victory. You didn't know until the end of the game that it was over. It wasn't.
They're playing the Ravens.
Yeah.
The Ravens are really good.
Fair enough.
By the way, that's another 2-score lead blown by the Ravens.
Yeah.
Did you see Lamar's tweet? He deleted
No,
it.
I didn't. My friend told me about it as I was playing the game with him.
He told a fan to eat a bleep. It wasn't great. Lamar, trying to get that money, man. You can't be tweeting the people eat a bleep.
Yeah, no,
it's not great. Lamar, you got a really good image. This wasn't great. Also, you watched a lot of this game with me.
Yeah.
Lamar's not the most reliable passer.
Dude. At all.
I mean, whether it's you playing him in Madden, Damonza played me in Madden. He was Lamar. He got beat 50-14. Just kept sailing interceptions over people's heads.
14 might be generous.
So the Ravens all of a sudden, they're still favorites to win the division. But
Are they 7-4 now?
7-4, but Cincinnati beat Tennessee. The Ravens lose. Now the Ravens, what they have going for them is the schedule. Broncos, Steelers, Browns with Deshaun back. Falcons, Steelers at the Bengals week 18. The Bengals, on the other hand, have a much more difficult schedule, including the game of the year next week at home against the Chiefs. The Bengals have Chiefs, Browns, at the Bucks, at the Patriots, home for the Bills, home for the Ravens. So the Ravens should still win that division because the schedule strength is so different. But it's hard to believe in this Ravens team right now as a true championship contender. Now, it is something that they've played 11 games. Were they ever up double digits in this game? I know they were up 9. I'm looking at it right now.
They bet my paycheck on the Ravens-Broncos game.
Okay, let's not put your paycheck on the Ravens-Broncos game.
I'm joking, but I'm definitely putting money on that game.
Okay, well, on the Ravens-Broncos?
Bet, yeah.
Well, real quick, let's just do it real quick. What do you think the line is? Ravens at home against the Broncos.
Oh, Ravens -7.
-8. Yeah, Ravens -8. They blow a lot of leads,
risky,
man.
yeah.
That's the thing is they blow a lot of leads. They get the leads, and that's what's so weird about them. You would think that a team that is run, with a quarterback that doesn't really turn it over a ton, and historically prior to this year, that's what they were like 24-3 when up double digits with Lamar. And now they've lost 3 times when up double digits and a 4th time when up 9 points. But they lost to royalty. What do you want from me? I mean, they lost to the prince that was promised.
Pony that was promised.
What'd you say?
The pony.
The pony that was promised. Yeah. I don't know what that means, but we can just move on. Next.
After Sunday, 2 of these 4 teams will make the playoffs. The Bengals, Jets, Patriots, and Chargers. Mm-hmm. The Chargers' risky coaching finally paid off with a crazy win over Arizona. The Jets have a new identity under Mike White and crushed Chicago. And since he beat Tennessee without Mixon or Chase, New England isn't going away, but they did lose to Minneapolis on Thanksgiving Day.
Minnesota, but go ahead.
I always say Minneapolis.
That's all right. That's the
Minnesota. They're both football teams.
What'd you say?
No, they're both. I don't know why I get them mixed up with the Colts. Minneapolis.
Oh,
Minnesota.
Indianapolis.
It's Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's right.
Minis.
Yeah, that's right.
If you had to bet on 2 of those teams to make the playoffs, who are you picking?
All right, before I even answer that, I want to say something about, you mentioned the Chargers' risky coaching paying off. And if you guys remember my analytics rant from about a month ago, where I said analytics needs a rebranding, and another thing I said was, what I think is total BS is we only talk about these aggressive decisions when they go poorly. You had 2 teams yesterday go for 2 at the end of games to win them. The Prince that was promised and the Jags, and the Chargers over the Cardinals. They both worked, and like clockwork. And by the way, that is not even a clear analytics move. Most analytics models usually have those decisions as close to coin flips. It's more a coach gut decision. But as always happens, amazingly, the biggest critics of analytics, they didn't mind those decisions. You know, listen, and I don't name check him on social media on this because he's a friendly of mine. He's good friends with Kevin Wildes, and I like and respect him a lot. But I was listening to Bill Simmons this morning, and like clockwork, Bill, who has criticized these coaches for being aggressive all year, says without a touch of irony, you know, both those 2-point conversions, I actually agreed with. Oh, you don't say. Because they worked. Everybody loves them when they work.
Right.
When teams are aggressive and it works, people have no problem with it. When they don't, they want to do a purging of the nerds and blame analytics. Okay. Now to this question. So you said New England's not going to go away. New England's going away. New England's cooked.
Minnesota's a good team, man.
Okay, I don't know that they are, but, I mean, they're a good team. I don't know that they're an excellent team. What sucks for the Patriots in that game is Mac Jones played the best game of his life, and they lost. Like, their offense did everything. Their defense could do nothing. Here's the problem for the Patriots. They have 6 games remaining. 4 of them, Damonza, are against the Bills, Dolphins, Bengals. 2 against the Bills, home against the Bengals, home against the Dolphins. That's brutal. Then now road games against the Cardinals and Raiders. Let's give them those wins, okay? Road wins against the Cardinals and Raiders. That only gets you to 8 wins. Even if you go 1-3 against Bills, Dolphins, Bengals, now you're only at 9 wins, right? Can you go 4-2 down the stretch, which would mean 2-2, you split with the Bills, and then you also split Bengals, Dolphins? I don't think so. So I think the Patriots are the easiest ones to eliminate. The Jets are interesting because the Jets, now that they have semi-competent quarterback play, that defense is so good that you want to believe in them. I got to look at what the Jets have the rest of the way.
They also just beat up on a dog water team.
No, that's true. At the Vikings, at the Bills. That's tough for the Jets. Then home Lions, home Jags, at the Seahawks, at the Dolphins. And then the Chargers. Listen, the Bengals are making the playoffs. So to me, the Bengals they have a tough schedule. I would be shocked if they don't make it. So let's pencil the Bengals in, okay? That leaves 1 spot remaining. The Chargers have an incredibly soft schedule, and that was a massive win for them, but they are a game behind the Jets in the standings. The Chargers have Raiders, Dolphins, Titans. Those are tough, but they're both at home. Then Colts, Rams, Broncos. So Dolphins, Titans is hard.
Yeah, I was thinking of Broncos.
No. But the Colts, Rams, Broncos to end the year is nice for them.
Yeah.
That's really nice for them. They already got their Chiefs games out of the way. Right now, I would say Bengals, Jets are the 2 playoff teams, with the Chargers the last team out, the Patriots fading down the stretch. But I don't know why you guys are ignoring the possibility. The possibility
Hey, man.
that the Jags go on a run here.
Oh, my God.
Listen, can I just paint the picture for you? Let me paint the picture for you, okay? The Jags go to Detroit and win. They then upset the Titans in Tennessee. That would be a big one. They then beat Dallas at home. Tough. Go to the Jets. Could do it. At the Texans, easy. Week 18, Titans home. Titans already clinched the AFC South. Already locked in to their seed. Maybe they rest people. I'm just saying it's not outside of the realm of possibilities that the Jags end the year on a 7-game winning streak. It's possible. I don't know why you're laughing.
I mean, you're saying it's possible that the prince that was promised ends up with a 7-game. When I was hyping up Daniel Jones in that game the other day.
He's won, by the way, he's won 7 games in his career. You were wrong about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones stinks. He stinks, buddy.
Dude.
He stinks.
Let's see about this 7-game
what
win streak
odds?
for the
You know
Jags.
what? I'm just saying, I don't think we should eliminate them entirely. All right. Again, this is our 100th show. We will take in the chat your guys' favorite moments. I'm told we have some cool video packages that we're going to be playing. We'll do that coming up next. Plus, game of Nick Wright Public Defender and a little soccer talk, my friends. Today's been an unbelievable day in the World Cup. We'll do all that next. What's right?
The Jags are also plus 800 to make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Can't write it off. 8-1.
Might as well bet on that.
Well, I bet on them before the season. I don't need to add more to it. All right, we'll discuss more later.
Next week they'll be plus 1,000. Here's what he said. Read off of the quote.
Yeah.
The only problem is he doesn't play for the Lakers. I was supposed to read the quote and then say he doesn't play for the Lakers.
No, you're not supposed to say read off of the quote. Oh. That's a command.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
Okay, now you're cursing live on YouTube. That's Damonza's first I'm Ron Burgundy moment.
I'm Damonza Bird.
Will Damonza get to 5,000 followers before I get to 500,000 followers?
This is a deal.
So you're risking $1,000.
1,000.
and I'm risking 10,000,
Yeah.
and it will be paid on the show. So he won the bet.
Might not see me here on Thursday.
The hit show HBO Winning Time is seeking basketball players for the roles of Byron Scott. So you played college basketball. You are the right height. Look at this. I think that absolutely it works.
I'm gonna need more tweets, more Winning Time HBO Damonza hashtags. Our Damonza stands, we still need you guys, but that's huge.
Damonza stands?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if those people exist.
And Bill Belichick's also won 73% of his games coached by other coaches named Mike.
It sounds good, but it's one game.
33-12 actually.
He's coached 45 games against dudes named Mike.
Tomlin.
Vrabel, Mike Smith, Mike Malarkey. Wow, good job. Doesn't change my opinion.
Defend your client, Draymond Green.
Our defense is not that my client did not do it. Our defense is that you would have done it as well.
Don't condone violence in the court, but adjourn.
There's 2 franchise tags. Let me just explain this very quickly. Another team who plays franchise tag tried to sign that average salary of 5 highest paid guys. The Titans with the number. Right now, he looks like the league MVP. So that is the.
So you're saying it was dumb?
Yes.
That's your best live analogy ever.
Felt really good.
That's like a really smart point you made.
Damonza and I have the same backpack.
And you probably shouldn't go. Oh.
This guy's just out here chilling with a little. I mean, look at this. A little gas station Hennessy bottle.
Ruben asks, how much thigh will you continue to let Damonza get away with?
I don't know, man. It's a new generation. They're the short generation.
I'm built different.
Your not only development, growth, and maturity on the air has been exponential. It's really been a total joy for me. And I'm proud of you and I love you. And it's been just great to be a part of it.
I really appreciate that, Pops.
Oh, that was great.
That was amazing.
Well done.
Love
Let's
it.
make sure we tweet that out, that full compilation. That was really good.
Yeah.
Also, it does show a significant upgrade for us quality-wise in our studio.
Yeah.
Our camera quality and our studio quality and the whole thing. All right. That, by the way, keep commenting your guys' favorite moments or questions you have. We'll get to those at the end of today's show in the next segment. But first, before we get to our game, Nick Wright Public Defender, what do we have to do? Oh, it's the World Cup. Yo, give me the graphic. Oh, look. Oh, the old FIFA forecast. What's up?
It is the FIFA. Oh, nothing. I love the graphic.
No, go ahead.
It's
No. I was saying, what's up?
Oh,
Go ahead.
A lot has happened since we last talked soccer.
Yeah.
Argentina dropped their first game in a huge upset. Germany got knocked out.
Almost got knocked out. They're
Sorry
okay.
about that,
Yep.
guys. No need to fret.
No problem.
France is the only country with 2 wins so far.
Yeah.
The U.S. has ended both their matches in a draw, and the U.S. faces Iran tomorrow in a win-and-in scenario.
Yeah.
How much FIFA have you played over the past few weeks, and how much will that help the U.S. make it to the group stage?
All right. I haven't played that much FIFA over the last few weeks. I've played some.
Yeah.
I've played some. So we will discuss the U.S.'s spot and my concern, and then we will discuss the tournament as a whole. My concern is that Iran goes into tomorrow's game knowing that as long as Wales doesn't beat England, which would be very shocking if they did, Iran simply needs a draw to advance. So the U.S. has to beat Iran. Iran needs to either win or draw. That is always a tough spot to be in if the other team is going to play uber conservative, not really take a lot of chances to go build a lead, because they're going to say 0-0 draw is fine with us. And it also means, and 0-0's tough, right? It's tough to hold a team scoreless the whole game. But it certainly means that if Iran were to get up 1-0, the United States is, I don't want to say screwed, but in brutal, brutal shape. Because it would mean that Iran then absolutely can play uber conservative, and even if they concede a goal, be okay. So this is why the United States, they played well enough to win both of their, well, that's not true. Wales, they played well enough to win in the first half. They played poorly in the second half. England, they played well enough to win, but they can't make any shots. They can't even get quality shots. They can't put shots on goal at a high enough rate. They played better than England in that game, and they were almost lucky to get a draw because England had far fewer scoring chances, but they were better scoring chances than the U.S. had. I believe the U.S. will beat Iran, and I think they'll advance. But that's not the only soccer I want to talk here. I just want to go day by day and just give you my quick thoughts on the tournament because we haven't done that yet. So the first day, the big note of the big match of note was obviously U.S.-Wales, and they got the draw. Good first half, bad second half. Day 2. I guess this is technically day 3 because day 1 was Qatar, Ecuador in the opener. Argentina losing to Saudi Arabia was one of the most shocking events in any World Cup. It's the biggest upset since 1950 in any World Cup. Argentina then got it back together. More on them in a moment. Later that day, a week ago tomorrow, 6 days ago, France fell down 1-0 to Australia and then came storming back to the tune of winning 4-1. They have looked like the best side in this entire tournament so far. It's why they're the only team that's already locked up a spot in the knockout round. The very next day, Japan shocked Germany 2-1. That was a game where it's one thing for there to be a shocking upset. It's another thing for it to be a shocking come from behind upset. Germany was up 1-0 in the 75th minute, and Japan got 2 goals late, which put them obviously in great position. They win the game. And then Spain annihilated Costa Rica. It was embarrassing for Costa Rica. Costa Rica kind of redeemed themselves. More on them in a moment. And then Belgium beat Canada. More on Belgium in a moment as well. Portugal, Ghana played a great game. Ghana's played 2 great games. They played an unbelievable game earlier today. Both the games today have been great. Brazil then kicked off their tournament. They beat Serbia easily. Then there was the U.S. England 0-0 draw. Nothing super of note the rest of that day for our purposes. France beat Denmark and put Denmark in position where they're screwed here. Denmark, well, I shouldn't say screwed, but Denmark, who was a team that I think a lot of people thought was going to have a real chance to do some type of damage in this tournament. Denmark, let me check their odds right now to advance, because France obviously is already advanced. Denmark right now, they are minus 190 to advance. So they are, if they win their final match, they're advanced. I don't think they've played well thus far in this tournament, but just my take. And then Costa Rica yesterday redeems itself by beating Japan after losing 7-0. You know what? I was saying, my apologies for what I was saying about Denmark when I was saying Denmark hadn't played that well. The point I was actually trying to make was Belgium. I guess it applies to both of them. Belgium is the team, though, that was one of the favorites and now is an underdog to advance. Denmark still should advance minus 190. Belgium, on the other hand, because of a 2-0 loss to Morocco, is a significant underdog to advance. It looks like it's going to be Morocco and Croatia moving on, which is shocking. And then Brazil-Switzerland is going on right now. But earlier today, you had 2 unbelievable matches. You had Cameroon play Serbia. Cameroon went up 1-0 to start the game. Serbia then scored 3 consecutive goals. 2 in stoppage time in the first half, 1 early in the second half. And then Cameroon came back with 2 goals of their own to get a draw out of it. And then Ghana-South Korea was probably the match of the tournament so far. Where you had, Ghana goes up 1-0 and goes up 2-0. Then Joe from South Korea has back-to-back quick goals to get the tie. And then Ghana comes back again to take the lead. So that game went 2-0 Ghana, 2-2 to 3-2 Ghana. So thus far, and I left out the Spain-Germany game. So this is what's wild, and then we'll move on to Public Defender. Germany was one of the 5 or 6 biggest favorites to win this whole tournament. Germany loses a shocking match in their first game to Japan. They then are playing Spain, who looked amazing in its first game, 7-0 obviously. They're trailing Spain 1-0 in the 80th minute. If they lose, they're done. Just done. Tournament over. They get a late goal to steal a draw, and now they are minus 430 to advance. Just because they have a draw. Because what they have now, they get Costa Rica. If they beat Costa Rica, they move on. So an amazing turnabout for Germany from one of the big favorites to looking like they're going to be one of the first teams eliminated. Canada was the first team eliminated, I think. Or Qatar probably was Canada's second team. And now Germany looks like they're going to be fine and moving on and advancing. Okay. All right. Now Damonza can start paying attention again.
I paid attention the entire time. I know what happened in each one of the games.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I didn't mean to offend you.
Oh, no, it's all good. You didn't offend me, man. I just had to correct you.
Oh, okay. You just had to correct me. All right. Damonza's now being very serious and professional while putting on a wig. All right. It looks like it's time for Nick Wright, public defender.
Yep. You know what time it is, folks?
Yeah.
All right. So, Jets quarterback Zach Wilson got benched, and Mike White looked unbelievable. In the last 2 years without Wilson, the Jets lead the league in passing yards per game. With him, they are 31st in the league. Everyone has been quick to pile on Wilson, which is why you need to defend him.
Okay. I'm going to be very simple here with my defense of my client, Zach Wilson. And again, for people new to the show, these are not my real opinions. As any good lawyer, I'm defending my client with vigor and enthusiasm, whether I believe he's innocent or guilty, okay? I'm just curious, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Do you think that multiple regimes, multiple head coaches, multiple front offices with the New York Jets have all just gotten top 5 picks wrong in Mark Sanchez, Sam Darnold, and Zach Wilson? That they just drafted bad players, different schools, different careers, bad players? Or is there something about the New York Jets franchise that destines marquee top picks to fail? Was my client, Zach Wilson, destined to fail the moment the Jets called his name? The same way Sam Darnold was, the same way Mark Sanchez was, the same way Geno Smith was, until he got out of there. For Geno Smith, it took him damn near a decade to get the Jets stench off him, but he finally did. Mark Sanchez never got that opportunity. Sam Darnold, we shall see in Carolina how he does, but I did see my former client, Sam Darnold, all of a sudden look a little frisky outside of the Jets. Hell. Now you might say, well, why can Mike White succeed there? This does not apply to all quarterbacks. Chad Pennington was fine. This applies to guys who the media assigns as the savior, the future of the franchise. They get thrown into the cauldron a little too early when they're a little raw, and then they get eaten alive.
So how do we explain Mike White, Your Honor?
Well, that's what I just said. Mike White is the Cinderella story backup. None of the pressure, none of the scrutiny. And by the way, if you remember, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what happened to Mike White the last time he got this opportunity? Mike White was nobody. He comes in for a game, and what does he do? He throws for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns in a victory, and all of a sudden there's excitement. There's enthusiasm. He gets a taste of what my client Zach Wilson has had to deal with. Excuse me. And how did he do? Well, in his next 2 games, 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions, including a game against Buffalo with a 33 rating. It was almost like the moment Jet fans start having hope about a quarterback, their generations of terrible quarterback karma ruin him. That's what's happened to Zach Wilson. I rest my case. All right, by the way, Zach Wilson stinks.
Yeah.
I mean, he stinks. I'm not actually defending Zach Wilson.
No, these are all fun and defensible
Okay, all right,
defenses we got
next.
here. The Broncos hit a new low, losing to Sam Darnold's Panthers. Russell Wilson has 8 touchdowns in 10 games, and his own teammate, Mike Purcell, gave him an earful on the sideline. Everyone is saying he's cooked, including TV analyst Nick Wright. Counselor, defend your client, Russell Wilson. I hate that guy, but order in the court, though.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Your Honor, you need to recuse yourself. You can't be saying you hate my
I don't
client.
hate him. I strongly dislike him.
You can't be saying you hate my client. Please let the record reflect that Your Honor has shown his own biases and is not going to be able to be an impartial arbiter of the truth here. In fact, you know what? I'm not. I don't need to defend Russell Wilson. I move for a mistrial, please. We need fair and impartial analysts. We heard Your Honor from the bench. It was caught on a live microphone. Say, I hate this guy. I move for a mistrial.
Motion denied.
With prejudice. Your Honor, I apologize, sir, but you have befouled the court and embarrassed yourself. You do not deserve to wear the robes of justice any longer. Let's just move on.
I didn't take an oath.
Let's just move on.
All right, no defense. Let's
Don't
do it.
need one.
Jaguars mascot Jaxson DeVille showed up to the game versus the Ravens in only a Speedo. Come on, man. There's kids watching the game. Counselor, your client is
Holy
Jackson.
bleep. I didn't.
Yeah,
Wait,
no,
I didn't see this.
Yeah, I saw that, but I just didn't. I thought the whole yellow thing was a suit.
So wait, he's not wearing.
That's crazy.
Hold on a second.
I mean, I think he should be tested
Tested. For what? What do you mean?
for substances.
Oh, you think he was high?
I mean,
the team
I mean,
must
yeah,
have-
I mean that's definitely.
Hold on.
He
I
got
got to
approved for that.
admit,
But it's
I prepped for this show quite well. I was not prepped on the Jaxson DeVille controversy. I'm gonna have to read more about it. Okay.
He's really cheeked up, like on the sideline.
Cheeked
It's crazy. Like,
Cheeked
what's
up.
going on?
Scantily clad Jacksonville causes social media stir during game. This is from News4Jax. After the thunderstorms passed through his unseasonably warm Sunday at TIAA Bank Field, a little too warm for Jaguars mascot Jaxson DeVille, the mascot, known for pushing the boundaries, shown multiple times during the broadcast wearing nothing but his mascot head with a slimmer version of his mascot suit, along with a tiny pair of American flag swimming briefs. Jackson's attire quickly became fodder for Twitter users.
I totally wasn't thinking about the fact that that's Florida.
Yeah, but it's... Hold on. I need to know, is he still wearing a suit?
Nah, man.
It says he is.
Very
Do we
defined
have-
suit.
By the second half, he put his full suit back on. All right, this is not my best showing on Nick Wright Public Defender. Luckily, you got me out of having to defend Russell Wilson.
I think he might actually be an actual Jaguar.
I read this question, and I assumed he was wearing a Speedo over
Where
the
suit-
mascot
right.
costume. And I thought it was so dumb that people were upset about it. I'm now seeing this, and I've got to say,
Bad move,
I
bud.
agree with the people who are angry. I don't want to sound like a Puritan, but this is inappropriate. Like, I can't defend it. I didn't know this happened.
That's funny. I saw that during the game, but like I just didn't think it was
Listen,
a Speedo either.
being
Like, I thought it was a
around,
full fit.
the prince that was promised can lead any of us to do crazy things. But this, you know what? There it is. I'm back. Your Honor, I plead temporary insanity. My client, Jaxson DeVille, has spent years now around Trevor Lawrence. And he saw the breakout game coming. And he was so excited and enthusiastic, he simply was in a rush after the rain delay to get back to the field. And he was, who can blame him for not wanting to miss a single throw from the prince that was promised? He rushed to the field and then realized, oh no, I took my suit off because it got covered in rain. It was all wet and it was drying. And now I'm out here and I don't have a suit. But if I go back, I'm going to miss a couple possessions. So my client did what any true fan would do, stayed there, watched the prince that was promised, and then at halftime, when the game wasn't going on, got fully clothed. He just couldn't, he's too big of a fan. And you know what you want your biggest fan to be? Your mascot.
Yep.
I feel like he was only doing his job. All right, last one.
All right. Do you ever put on a hat and it's a bit too tight? Brian Robinson doesn't. After the Commanders win, Washington's rookie rocked his hat in the locker room.
Yeah.
And so defend your client in his hat.
Okay.
And his friend's hat business, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's very simple. Do you value loyalty and friendship or do you not? Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson clearly has a friend, a good friend, that said, starting a business and could use some help. And he said, I got you, buddy. The guy's like, it's a hat business. And he said, no problem, I wear hats all the time. He's like, I gotta tell you, it's a big hat business. Like, okay, how big can it be? And the answer is pretty big. But he was a man of his word.
Dude,
You'd wear that? Can we get those? Do we have do we have the budget?
Answered.
Do we have the budget to get oh, look at I like that. Can we get me a Chiefs big hat? What do you want? Jags for Prince that was promised?
Definitely don't want a Jags big hat. I'd probably.
Who would you want? Ravens?
No.
Chiefs?
Probably the Vikings.
The Vikings?
Yeah.
You're a Vikings fan now?
Yeah, I just know honestly, like
They win you one
Chiefs,
bet?
The Chiefs are my favorite team, but the Vikings have not lost me a bet. Yeah, I've been keeping track of that throughout the season, and I also like their. Like,
Okay.
I don't like the red and yellow is cool. But
How
like,
about
on
a
hat-
Celtics one?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, Blue Duck folks, let's do that. Episode 100 bonus for me and Damonza. I want the big hat.
Yeah,
I want the big hat, Chiefs. He can have the big hat, Celtics. I'll wear it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wear it on the TV show. I'll wear it on the podcast.
I'll wear it to pianos.
Okay. Oh God, you would too.
I would.
I mean, you get a lot of attention. All right. So why does my client even need defending? Those hats are dope. He's a good friend. We answer your questions and talk about your favorite moments of the first 100 episodes next. What's right? We're in the Uber and a Lil Wayne song comes on. Because I'd had a few cocktails, I'm like, you know what? I'm a FaceTime Wayne. And I called you, and as soon as it started ringing, I was like, what the am I doing? And I hung up. And you called me right back. Right back.
Before a Slovenian basketball game, Luka Doncic was reportedly drinking soda and smoking a cigarette. Good pregame routine or the best pregame routine?
Soda's toxic. Soda's no good for you. Let's put healthier things into our body than cola.
Wait, are we being serious right now?
Yeah, of course I'm being serious. Put Patrick Mahomes on the field against the best defense in the league. You know what he turns into? A slightly better version of Joe Montana. Pretty bleeping good. I have heard from a lot of people, Nick, you are wrong about Russell Wilson. I am here to tell those people they were correct. I was way too high on him. All I'm saying is, I told you so. Someone tweeted to Durant, did you see Nick Wright's Club Superstar segment? He had a funny line about Kyrie.
Right.
And Durant responded and said, I didn't see it, but I'm sure it was trash. Anyone can do Nicky's job.
The question is, why do you think Katie is singling you out like that on Twitter?
Does Katie hate me or really like me? You know the only common ground they have?
What?
Hating me. That's the only thing Warriors and Celtics fans have in common. They're like, hey, he's a jackass, isn't he? Like, yeah, we agree on that. Sucks.
You know why you're
Why?
Because your mouth. You just talk too much too fast.
The third greatest player of the last 50 years, one Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The single greatest player is, of course, LeBron James. Check your bingo card. It's LeBron.
Okay.
Now I don't even make single game parlays typically. 40-1 because Kelsey dove at the end. Oh, we're in there.
Joey Chestnut has won 14 of the last 15. Some say that he's the greatest athlete of all time. Defend them.
One could argue Usain Bolt, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, none of them could have survived, let alone thrived, without the one skill my client has mastered, which is eating. Can I tell the story of when we first met?
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you remember?
No, I'm too old.
Now, to the prince that was promised, Trevor Lawrence. I'm done betting on the Jags for at least a month. I still want to believe in Trevor.
Oh my goodness.
I get an alert about a tweet. Why is Get Nick Wright in the newest Star Wars? People believe that is supposed to be me.
Yeah.
Because it is me. So that's what, Deanna? What are you pointing at?
0.
What, 0 what?
0.
The time?
0.
You mean I went too long?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll be right back. That was great. I really enjoyed that.
That was amazing.
We're wearing our 100 episode glasses. Let's put that on Twitter as well. So we've had everyone on the show except for your sister.
Yeah, Dior.
We've had one of your sisters on the show, Deanna.
Right.
Diora, though, is going to do the show. One of the shows during alert to you. One of the shows during December, you're going to be off. Diora's going to do it during her winter break.
Okay.
It's just not trying to bump you off a show, but
Yeah.
Diora's going to do it. I tried to tell her she's applying to all these colleges. This would be a cool thing to be able to add to the old resume.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't do it, and now she's finally agreed to do it. All right. So this is our 100th episode. So we have some listener and viewer questions or comments. Damonza, you want to go through them?
Joel Cook said, #1 moment when he had his daughter on.
Deanna was great. She did a really, really good job. Angle the microphone a little more towards your mouth. She did a really, really good job. And she'll be on again. She's been asking to come on again. She'll be on again. All right, go ahead.
Jordan Thompson and many others said, Damonza's dinosaur rant. All right.
Damonza didn't like that one. Damonza was very mad that went out there because Damonza was joking, and he was mad people took his total joke seriously. You're playing a character. I get it. But you hadn't. This is what I always tell young broadcasters. Young broadcasters, they ask me, like, what should I do? What should I do? And I'm like, listen, just get reps. Start a podcast. Start a YouTube channel. Get reps. And they're like, but nobody's watching. I was like, that's really good. You don't want people watching or listening in the beginning because you want to figure out who you're going to be. You're going to be yourself, but what version of yourself? And it is important. Like Damonza at that point was like, do I just want to just be the wacky sidekick funny guy and then realize shortly thereafter, no, God dog it, I want to be taken seriously. I'm a man of opinions and takes, and I can't have it out there that people thought I thought Jesus rode dinosaurs or whatever the hell you said. And so he's like, damn it, that's now out there for the whole world. It'll always be used against me. All right, next.
All right, Nunya said, my favorite part of the podcast is the dynamic between the both of you. I'm going through the process of adopting my son, and it feels like I'm looking ahead to a future where I roast my grown son.
Well, that's very interesting because the dynamic between us is great. And, listen, the podcast is going to go through some changes post-football because Damonza's moving to Los Angeles. So we're going to figure out, how that's going to work, what we're going to do. But the dynamic here is really fun and outstanding. And we've gotten through 100 of these episodes without it ever really causing a real problem in our relationship. We've had a few tough moments, but nothing, no like big blow-ups, nothing substantial. But Damonza and I are also I think the best part. I think this is the best our relationship's ever been because it always, so when I've been with Danielle for 15 years, so when Damonza was like 9, 10 years old is when I first came around. So in the very beginning, obviously, Damonza had understood skepticism about me and, what I was going to be about. And then I think the skepticism went away, but we didn't have the long history of, you know, I wasn't there for your little kid years. We didn't have the long well of memories to draw upon. And then he and I got real close when he started really ascending in basketball, and I got really involved in that. But right as we were getting real close through that, I then moved to LA and was going back and forth your senior year, and then you moved to California when we all moved to New York. So then we were kind of apart for a few years. And then when we came back together was the time that everybody goes through where they must like kind of rebel against one of their parents. And so Damonza didn't was totally understandably, I did the same thing, like kind of in a, man, I don't want to live the life you want me to live. I want to live the life I want to live. So you and I were in kind of a tough spot because you were figuring out who you were, what you wanted to do. I, having the advantage of having made all the mistakes, was trying to prevent you from making the same mistakes I made. But that's always that never works in parenting, man. You just got to let your kid make the mistakes because it's the only way they like learn from them. Like you can tell them this is going to happen, but all of us, when we are on the receiving end, and they're like, man, just because that happened to you doesn't mean it's going to happen to me. And then once it does happen or something similar, it's like, oh, I guess they were right. And then once you went through that and did that and left on your own and then came back and then we started doing this together, it was kind of, we now have 15 years of time and memories together. Plus, not that like you always have to listen to me or whatever, but you have kind of more of a thought process of, my track record on be careful of X, Y, and Z is pretty good. And I also stay out of your business more because you're more grown. So like it's a, you know, John Lopez, who was my old radio partner in Houston, told me when Deanna was being born, because, you know, I was around when your sister was 2 turning 3, but I had never been around a baby. And John, who had 3 grown kids, said every age is the best age. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, every age is the best age. He's like, it's the best when they're babies, and then it's the best when they're toddlers. He's like, and then it's for different reasons. He's like, and it's the best when they're grown too, because you can have a totally new relationship. And that's how I feel. So I think I'm glad you asked that, Nunya, and I'm glad I was able to. Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that. All right, next.
Mark Passat said favorite moment was favorite moment. Love hearing about your family stories. Great content and great laughs come out of them.
Oh, that's nice. I appreciate that. Diora will be great when she's on here because she will roast me in a way that even my wife didn't.
Yeah. Oh, and I think Diora she's probably the most built for this out of all of us so far, given like what it is that her career path is.
Correct. She's a performer. And I'm going to post at some point it doesn't matter. I'm going to post a video of my daughter singing at a musical that it sounds like, oh God, nobody wants to see that. It will blow your mind. It blew my mind. I knew she could act. I didn't know she could sing like that. It blew my mind. All right, next.
Moment. Noah Rodriguez said, favorite moment was Nick's story about when he got $25 in Dave & Buster bucks from his old job as a happy birthday present.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Appreciate that. By the way, I'm not going to name names there, but I would like to just go ahead and check something real quick. That company, which still employs a lot of my friends, as of right now, okay, that's good. Stock price for that company is 36 cents a share. And maybe you should have treated some of your best employees better. And that's really not good for me, though, because I own like 10,000 shares of that company. 36 cents. 10,000 shares worth $3,600. Get out of here. The market cap for that oh my God, that's not great. All right, last.
So, Craig Barnett said favorite moment from the first 100 episodes is quote unquote all cheeked up.
People really like Damonza just moments ago calling Jaxson DeVille all cheeked up. There it is. What's Right with Nick Wright and Damonza, episode 100. We'll be back. We will, you know what? I am going to be responsible. I'm not spending the extra day in Vegas. Thursday, We'll be back with a live show, episode 101. Make sure you tell your friends. Our YouTube subscribers are kind of slowing a bit. About 14K short of the 100K we need for Damonza to get this $1,000 bonus. So tell your friends, do that. We'll see you guys on Thursday. What's right? Hey, it's Nick Wright. Thank you so much for watching. Please do us a favor. Click subscribe. It helps my ego, and Damonza's got a financial bonus writing on a number of YouTube subscribers, so help him out. And also, click the bell. I don't know what the bell does, but they tell me to tell you to click the bell. And your audio listeners, people that have commutes, drives, whatever it is, subscribe to the podcast as well, wherever you get the podcast. Same show, just in your ears instead of through your eyes. All that, check it out. Appreciate y'all.